Okay, so this is day 3 of Mishlei 23:29 to 20:35. I'm not going to reread the pesukim because I feel like at this point, if you're not on the boat, then you're not on the boat.
Maybe you're drunk.
What was that?
Maybe you're drunk.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if you are on the boat and you're like flattened out, then you should definitely listen. Okay, all right. So let's look at the Meiri and see if he says anything. Either Derech Nigla or Derech Nistar.
Sorry, before we do that.
Yeah.
Did I ever explain what lies down at the top of the mast means?
Yeah, so we had so it seems like the let me just look at the materials again because I think he commented on that. I think he just said that it is.
How do you get up there?
Well, you climb it, right?
You climb it and you're like, all right,
that's why they got.
Seems like a poor place to.
Yeah, well, that's if you weren't drunk, then you wouldn't do that. What did he say?
Is that the idea? You get yourself into bad situation.
Yeah, that is the idea. Well, that was my idea. Is that it's a dangerous situation. Like no one in their right mind would go up. So he says, Brosh Kibel, who Torin. So first of all, he says Belev Yam is Anshe Hasfina. Am I recording? Yes, I am. Okay. Anshe Hasfina Holeches. So he was the one who said that they lie down flat. Then Brosh Kivel, who Torin Hasfina Shekol HaChavalim Tluimbo, they batten themselves to the, I don't know if that's the right verb, they tie themselves to the mast. So he said that they tied themselves there for stability. Yeah, but I think to me it just seems like it's just a furtherance of the. It's one level of insanity to be, to endanger yourself by putting yourself into the middle of the sea. It's another one when you're doing that, and then to lie down, and it's another one to go onto the top of the mast. But we'll see if anyone else has anything for that. Okay, all right, Meiri. So let me. I think we read this last time. He has the whole thing. All right. So this is the part we read before. After he rebukes him on the matter of the zona, he rebukes him about wine. He goes on at length because it's something that draws you in and makes you sin. More so than the other enjoyments. So he's the one who takes the crying sadness approach. It's like eulogizing, and Yalala is like the mourning women would do. The haloazim noagim laloazos kamilas Yalala midyanim pirusha meribos siach ulashon kina. He also says siach is a lamentation. Lemi p'sayim chinam v'tzalamer b'pshuso uv'rdifaso akre divrei tohu. So that's funny also, right? That the needless wounds are from his negligence and his chasing after matters that are null. Right, that are not important. I don't know where he gets p'sayim from there. And then so that's also the redness of the eyes from crying. So that's one thing I don't think we explained when we did this last week. Why does he put the emphasis on sadness? Right, he tries to interpret all of these having to do with sadness. And I think you might also take his chasing after divrei tohu also as a sadness type thing. That it's like a losing endeavor, you're gonna chase after stuff that is beyond your grasp, right? So that's something. Let's just think about that for a little bit. Actually, we'll read his 30 again.
This is the oi.
This is for all 6 of them.
No, I know, but I'm saying
for the oi
sounds like sadness.
Yeah.
And maybe he sounds like this is the first thing, so that kind of characterizes all of it.
So that'd be why he takes it that way. But the question though is, what idea do we get out? Yeah, right. Yeah. Lama acharim. So the answer is basically l'kulam. The answer to all of them is lama acharim mahayayin. Klamar kol elul osan ham acharim sheves. People who delay in their sitting. Ratzalam shenosim la'atma mitoch mitun upnai b'shasiyas yayin. They drink wine in a leisurely manner. Right. That was another thing also, that this is not, I think this was another indication last week that this is not the average drunkard who just wants to get drunk as fast as possible. These are people who sit down and have long, drawn out wine drinking sessions. They're always investigating wine. Where are they going to find the best quality wine? Some people say that the redness of the eyes is the beginning of the answer. let's tchilas tshuva. V'hu ilu amar kol elu la'asher lo chachlilis nai mitat hayayin. So some say that the 5 are the questions, and then the last 3 are the answers. All right, so let's just stop and say, can we get anything about the sadness thing? Like why concept-wise, what do you focus on sadness, or what emerges from the sadness thing? Escapism. So, but that would be as a cure for the sadness, right?
Yeah.
So sounds to me, I mean, that would be plausible. It sounds like he's saying you're going to be, oh, I see. Hold on. In other words, that's what brings him to the wine. Maybe he's learning the lamed as when he says lami, for whom, meaning not, we were learning these as symptoms, right? But he's saying who is driven to the wine, people who are sad and crying. Oh, that's a good shot. Okay, that works out. Oh, I totally forgot to post this. I asked Rabbi Maruf if he has a write-up of his idea of drinking on Purim, and he found one. And so I could send it if you're interested, or I could save it for Purim. Yeah. I mean, I can send it both times. Yeah. All right. So, So that's a good shot.
I'd be interested in that.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So should we proceed on that assumption for now? Let's. Okay. All right. Next, this is a new part now. L'rov hemshech adam bo, due to a person being drawn after it a lot. Chazar lahaz hiro shlo yafutu yafusa acharav. It's warning him to not beautify it after him.
I was thinking like seduced, like Pessy.
That's what I was wondering also. But the reason why I'm wondering this is because of the focus on the eye. Let's see. Al tere yain kiyas adam. Don't look at wine when it's becoming red. The al tere pirusho al tirtze. So don't look means don't desire. It's interesting. That's a good raya linguistically. It's like when it says in Devarim, be careful for yourself lest you bring up your burnt offerings in any place that you will see. It's obviously not any place you will see, it's any place that you want, right? Va'inyan, and the idea is al tir'eh bilvavecha uvesichlecha liv korbo. Do not desire it in your heart and in your mind to choose it. Amar al tov tzava'o, and it says about it's a nice looking color, ki yes adam, that is becoming red. V'chein ladas kol zulasi ki yitain bekos eno choser al yain. He says everyone besides me thinks that this is referring that if you put your eye on the coast, that's talking about the wine. Miloshin ve'eno ein habadolach. So that's like we read in Rabbeinu Yonah, that it means appearance. Klomer tziva'o umarehu nasan bakoso. That its color and appearance was given in the coast. I don't know what this means. These halach b'meisharim gam kain. Was it?
It would stain the coast. I don't know what that means.
No. Yeah, I don't think he. Yeah, I'm not sure I was using the word nasan here. These halach b'meisharim gam kain l'da'atam. So too, according to their opinion, so he's still quoting other people. Al hayayin. Then that's referring to the wine. Klomer shehu yashar va'arev l'shosehu. That it is upright or straight and it's pleasant to the one who drinks it. Okay, l'da'ati. Maybe we'll get it from comparison. According to my opinion, lama shehim meforshim oso al hayayin. Rotza bo al tuv tamo v'recho. She is halach b'mehera. So he says, what they explain to be about the wine, I say is about the good taste and aroma. She is halach b'mehera, that it goes quickly. Kadavar haholech b'yosher b'lev ha'adam b'shisiyaso, like something that goes quickly in the heart of man when he drinks it. Uvemocho uberecho, and in his brain with its aroma. Don't know what it means. Almost sounds like altar, right? Like the like you it goes down quickly, but I don't know what he's saying. V'li od both lefarish. We'll try to assess it after we read the whole thing. I can also explain. That is referring to the person. That when a person puts his eye onto the cup at first, lishtos, to drink it, before he stumbles in it, then he's walking upright. That's kind of like what I wanted to say, that it's two different choices. That he's not saying it as far as I am, but he's saying that, like, when you look at the wine becoming red, that's going to be one path towards bad stuff. But then instead you should like look at the cup and not drink it. And that's like being upright, something like that. The achariso in the end, after he is perpetual in it. It will bite like a snake. Someone who's bitten by a snake will not feel the pain at first. Of all lidakuso, but the venom, due to its subtlety, nichnas b'chadrei haguf. It will enter into the chambers of his body and kill him. It means it's going to sting him. Okay, I don't know what these parishim are, but they sting horses. What? Maybe scorpions, yeah. The natural predator of the horse. Yeah, yeah. Habakar. Okay, or it means when he separates from the bite. The venom doesn't enter the body until the snake withdraws itself from the bite. Okay, fine. Because some want to explain that his halachim is klomar kol shenosin eno bekos umasmidbo yishalach besok beso b'mishor. It means that anyone who puts his eye on the cup and is constantly there, he'll walk in his house, in a direct way. He won't find anything in his house to like scrape his feet on. Oh no, do I not copy the rest of the Meiri again? Yeah, all right, sorry, we got to continue it here. I don't know what he means. The reason why I'm zooming so fast over this is I want to get to the Derech Nistar. And you can see the Meiri. This is one of the Meiri things where he's just giving many ways to read it. So I don't feel as like we have to like pledge allegiance to his specific pirush here. 23. Meiri. I'm hoping that there's a Derech Nistar at the end of this. Okay, can I make this bigger, or is this the thing that shifts? Oh, I gotta use the in the browser thing. Okay, hold on. No. Oh, you mean the in-page thing? Yeah. Okay. Scroll. Where were we? Klomar shalim subvase. Okay. Vamar inecha Yeruzaros, Klomer she's Bablo Reus Eno, Ad Yidmeb Eno Shire Mash Eno Roe. So it's going to confuse his mind, his sight, to the point where he sees things, he thinks he sees something that he doesn't see. Zaros, Klomer Devarim She'enam, things that are not in existence. V'chein Libosh Yakshuk Tapuchos, his heart will think duplicities, Machshavto Netakam Inyan Le'inyan, Umidim Ledimion. So he's going to go from thought to thought and from imagination to imagination. He's noted goof hashocha b'lev yam mitzinu asasfina, just like a person being rocked around on the boat. O kanoa lev hashocha b'lev yam miro hapachat, or like the heart being moved from place to place in the heart of the sea, out of fear. Im letinuas gufo mitzad ruach, o tenuas levavo mitzad hapachat b'chibel. Im heoso nakudo kafal avar min hatagush. Hu shem davar, so it's a noun. Befeles v'had davar ein bahem. V'hu nemor al tornasfina lihiosa niksheres im chavalim kar lachibel. Okay, so he's explaining why it's called from lashon ropes. V'amar achar kach hikuni bal chalisi romes b'derech ha'ara. I'm not scrolling anymore. That means that there's no Derech Nistar. Hishtakus adam bo v'kushi ha'ipar mimeno. So it's talking about the how a person will be sunken into it and it'll be difficult to separate from. So even though you get all these sorrows because of the wine, these balbo sichli ad kuni makos, and my intellect is mixed up to the point where I'm being hit by people. Bal chalisi rotzalomer, I will not become sick. I will not sense my illness. Meaning I don't feel it being hit. I still want to get up and drink more. Okay, so he doesn't give us a Derech Nistar, unfortunately. Before we try to figure out our own Derech Nistar, let's just quickly skim the raw bog at the end, which you do have in the end of the packet. Let's just see if he gives us a Derech Nistar at any point. I'm not even going to read the whole thing. I just want to skim it with my eyes. Let's see. Oh, sorry. Was I not? Oh. No. Okay, so we have to think on our own.
There was one thing from the Meiri
Yeah.
that I found interesting, which is the way in which he was talking about italics and meforshim,
Yeah.
right? Which is that you see something, you see this attractive wine, and it just like draws you into it.
Yeah.
Which means like there is like a practice seemingly of out of sight, out of mind that you can do with
Right.
this wine that's going to help you avoid.
That's a good point. Right. So that's the so the other thing on the podcast episode I just made, which is I focused on the Tim Ferriss interview with James Clear from Atomic Habits. And one of the things that James Clear is big on is you should prime your environment to be conducive to the habits that you want to either develop or get away from. And so that is definitely so he used the example of, he said, if I had, he said in the podcast, he says, if I have beer, if I buy a 6-pack of beer and I put it on the bottom drawer of a thing in my fridge, I'll see it whenever I open it, and it'll be easy for me to take it. But if I like store it in my garage, then most of the time I'll just like forget about it. So that's a good example. Before we do our own Derech Nistar, I just want to check the midrashim, which we never do on Mishlei. First of all, let's look at Rashi. Does Rashi say any? There are, but they're not authoritative. They're not like in the canon of the authoritative midrashim. Of like, there's no like midrash rabbah or like there's lots in the Gemara, but all right, does Rashi say anything that indicates that he takes this? No, that was by the woman. Bekis ksiv, that's in post Akitza, Nistar.
When we're ready, I think I have a thought.
Okay.
Oh. Well.
No. All right, so let's look at the midrashim really quickly. So we got Midrash Mishlei, which okay. Amar Rabbi Simon Bo'ur e Kamakasha Yayin Sheshlosh Esrei Vavin Ne'emru Bo Mitzchila Beluhin. So there's look at all the vavs. That's how you know wine is bad. Okay, I mean that's a very midrashic thing. Okay, fine. So, but that seems to be talking about actual wine. I mean, I'm sure these are interesting midrashim. I'm just looking for the okay, then Yalkut Shimoni, welcome back. He says it is here we go. No, I'm looking at the beginning of the parak. Let's see. Ooh, oh boy, that was. Did you see that one? Okay, hold on. Let's go to the beginning.
Where are these midrashim from?
So Yalkut Shimoni, I always forget what the history of Yalkut Shimoni is. Yalkut Shimoni, I think it was compiled in the time of the Gaonim. It is an Agadic compilation on the books of the Hebrew Bible, compilation of older interpretations. When was it compiled? Sources, author, and date. The author cannot be determined with certainty. Early part of the 13th century. Yeah, it's like real midrashim, so to speak, were written by the Tanaim, right? Tanaim and Amoraim, and then there are collections of midrashim that were published in the times of the Gaonim and the Rishonim, and it's possible that those were repositories for other midrashim that were circulating, like by Baal Peh, but you don't know for sure. And that's why like the most reliable midrashim are the ones either in Shas or in the like Tanchuma and Chilta and Midrash Rabbah, like the ones that are like have a stamp of approval. So it's not that the ideas aren't good, but you should treat this midrash much more like a Rishon, than a Gemara. Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, so it looks like this is applying it to women, right? Let's see. He says, let's see how anything. Yeah, davar acher. So this is the one that called me. Davar acher. Alter yankis adam yisave ladam nida uladam zava. Right. Kiyitim bekos eno bekis ksiv lashon naki. So it's written bekis lashon naki. Right. So it's a euphemism for the pouch. Right. Yishalech b'mesharim sof sheishto omereslo kishoshana aduma ra'isi ve'eno poresh. In the end, his wife will say to him, Kishoshana aduma, like a red rose, Ra'isi, I have seen, the Eno Porish, and he will not separate from her. Amar Rabbi Yossi, Im Tamid Chacham, who sof shematame as hatahor umatayr satame. So that's applying it to not promiscuous relationships, but that's your wife when she's in nida. That's an interesting that's an interesting interpretation. That's not Derech Nistar, that is a metaphorical interpretation. Let's see here. Yeah. All right, this is All right, this is going to take too much work for of looking stuff up in the dictionary. All right, so let's do our own. Okay, so Isaac, you had something?
Yeah. So so I'm thinking that it's I think we've said in the past that wine in Derech Nistar is like I don't know if we said this in the past, but I think we have, that it's like intoxicating ideas.
Okay, I don't know if we said that in the past either. I mean, I'll say what we did say, and then you can tell me if this is what you're thinking of. But you can also take your own approach. We said above with the wine and the meat, the gorging, the guzzling on the wine and the meat is wine is mushroom for Torah or for Chachma, and we said that the gorging, the guzzling is people who just want the enjoyable, indulgent aspects of the learning, but not the, so to speak, like nutritional, staple foods in proper quantity.
Okay, so I think I'm saying something slightly different.
Okay, sure.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, there's some background noise, but yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's the intoxicating idea. I think it's ideas that are like enjoyable, but like I was thinking actually like a different approach than that. Okay. It's ideas that are intoxicating but not necessarily true, or you need the proper framework to understand them, and if not, you're going to come away with a false like framework.
So there is support in that, in the fact that, I mean, I think the clearest puzzle that supports that is your eyes will see strange things and your heart will speak duplicities.
Yeah.
Right. That's what happened in Pardes, right? With the Tanaim, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And if you drink from that, then you're gonna come away with false thing, with like you're gonna like come away with like false conclusions and bad ideas, and that's like the blows that you're not gonna realize it. That's the blows that you're not feeling.
Yeah.
And then but it's gonna feel good because you feel like you got some like really good insight, and then you're gonna want to go deeper into it.
Okay, so I think there is an overlap between the way we were saying it and this way, which is that wine and meat are the like mashalim for like the highest aspects of learning, like the best aspects of the best areas of learning or the deepest ideas. And this could be talking about premature involvement in it. I kind of, though, am tempted to take it in line with the way we took it before, just because it's part of the same parak. So we'll just put that on hold, and I think there might be overlap here. Yeah, Ezra, did you have something? No. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Fine.
Yes, I have just a thought to maybe add to that. Is like you say that like a Torah is likened to water.
Yeah.
So in like the pasuk of, I think we're gonna say that I can't read it. I can't see it.
Oh, sorry.
Right. So like the 33 followed by 34.
Yeah.
Right. That if he's making some weird like incorrect connections. And
Yeah.
And he's not seeing like the right thing because of the way that he's interpreting the ideas. Then it can be like he's like drowning in like the sea of Torah. It's kind of how I'm like seeing like 34 then. Like he's just like meaning like.
So, hold on a second. So just to make sure I'm getting when you brought up that water is Torah, then you're saying that is the mashal of the being on the sea.
Yeah.
Right.
And that like now he's just like out in the middle of like all of it, and it's just like.
Okay, that's good. Now that we absolutely have to understand as following from the involvement in wine, right? So are you taking a stance on that, or are you not taking a stance on that right now? Because I think that is a good.
I think so because I think that if it's kind of like diving into it's I mean I guess a good example.
Yeah,
like diving into the deep end,
the original
right?
deep end of the ocean.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So like he's attempting to go out into the most difficult places to navigate with improper equipment,
right,
and with improper training.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. By the way, just to read this here, I think this for the Derech Nistar works out really well. Of lachkor mimasach is to investigate mixed drinks. You know that we're talking here with like in the Derech Nistar of like literal chakira of like learning and thinking about stuff. Let's. What my intuition is telling me is let's work in order here. Okay, so if we're going to say that wine is a mashal for something having to do with chachma, whether it is the most enjoyable areas of chachma, whether it's the deepest areas of chachma, whether it is things that you can get drunk on, like I unless you're really weird, I don't think you can get drunk off of learning halacha, but you could get drunk off of like learning ideas in metaphysics. In the sense of like it can like mess up your way of thinking, like areas that have a powerful pull on the imagination, in Ma'aser Bereishis, Ma'aser Merkava, so let's see if we can take that approach here. Right. So what do we say? I mean, the first part puzzle it becomes more difficult here, right?
The first part, I was running it through the conflict here.
Yeah.
So oil and avoid. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I mean, look, we don't have to get every single item in the first puzzle, but we have to get some idea of,
Yeah. But I would say like calling about like the conflicts.
Yeah.
Like that could be between like him and other people who are learning.
Like
okay,
that's good. That's good.
Like, I understand.
Right.
And it's like, no, you don't.
Yeah, or here's another one. That's definitely a possibility, but I want to focus on the Pitzaim Chinam, on the needless wounds.
Yeah.
That I think I recently mentioned this in Adler's 10 Philosophical Mistakes, that because certain 17th and 18th century thinkers made mistakes in not getting basic ideas from the ancients, so then they came up with their own entire philosophical edifices, and then other thinkers, those edifices created other problems which other thinkers created. So you end up wounding yourself. You create problems that don't actually have to exist. Like, again, I think the example I mentioned was like Descartes saying, taking a stance that I have to prove that reality exists. No one ever said that before Descartes, and that I have to prove. They took it as a first principle that reality exists, and they proceeded from there. Only by saying, well, I'm not going to accept it until you can prove it 100%. That creates a whole field of problems which can cause needless wounds. Yeah, Oren?
More along what Chaim was saying. Chaim was saying it was like arguments and learning. It could also be like community problems.
Okay, right. That's another good.
Like they're different. Like there are different sects forming.
Right.
Things like that.
Right. That's good. That's a good approach. Also. Yeah, Ezra.
I think Lemisiach also works very well because a lot of times, like you think you know what you're saying, and they're just like saying things because it sounds nice.
Yeah, right. Okay, that's good. All right, we're starting to get into it now. Yeah, fine.
And then, so I was thinking the same thing for the Siach.
Yeah.
And also, so then the way that I was like building, like it seems like a puzzle really builds up to the bloodshot eyes. If you take the was it the Meiri? You said that he's crying.
Yeah, that was Meiri. Yeah.
So like that kind of approach would be like you build yourself up into this like existential crisis where it's like how like then you get into like nihilism and things like that. Like,
I was thinking the same thing for the Oi and the
Oh, okay. And then you get to like this that's like a step of like you're crying, you're just like lost.
Right. Yeah. So so in the same sense that we learned that let me just frame it, because remember the whole approach to the Derech Nistar, the way I understand it is you take But let me say the misguided approach to the Derech Nistar is you just start positing things and say, well, this is much over that, and this is much over that. That is an undisciplined way to approach the Derech Nistar. The disciplined way is to take the same ideas you got with Derech Nigle and just apply them metaphorically to a different subject matter, right? So the way we took the first two pesukim in our Derech Nigle approach was these are symptoms of an unhealthy relationship with alcohol, right? And you could look at these symptoms and identify through the symptoms that this person has an unhealthy relationship. So I think in a diagnostic way, I think that this is a certain, like, these are signs that you have an unhealthy relationship with the Yena Shel Torah, right? Whatever you say that wine, and I'm not ready to take a stance on that yet, but like that if the person, let's say, who is having these existential crises and who is having like seeing huge problems and stuff in terms of the Psalm Chinam, or say again,
and then
arguing with everybody, right? Huge conflicts. So there are real things in Torah that like lead to existential crises and like that have this stuff. But this should be a red flag that not too red, but that you are that this person might be relating to Torah in an unhealthy way, right? Now let's see if we can get, what does it mean? Lama achrim al yain labaim lach kor mimsach. Right? Lama achrim al yain. See, I'll give you examples of this also. That one of the initial oppositions, I mean, there were many, but one of the initial oppositions to the early Hasidic movement was that the early Hasidim, I don't know about the leaders, but certainly the early Hasidim in terms of the followers, completely neglected the study of halacha and Talmud, right? That's why Chabad was distinguished for being Chachma Bina and Da'as, and like having the Shulchan Aruch Harav of like actually studying halacha. And I remember reading somewhere that like some Rav who was around at that time was testifying, saying like he would go to these communities and look at the bookshelves in the shul, find no shas, just books of Kabbalah and Hasidus, and so like that was a big problem. Similar to like I don't think this is the Yain problem, but similar to in the Musar movement, some people took that to the extreme and like we're not learning Gemara at all. So I think though that like the Ma'achrim al Yain, like the way that the Meiri says like Sheves al Yain, that people who are making the Yain of Torah, there is Yain of Torah, but making that into their mainstay, or making that into the majority of their time, could be the thing. Yeah.
And I think Labaim Lachkor himself, we were saying, is like they're trying to find the tastiest wine.
Right.
You want to find like the most like out there ideas and like things that are like interesting more so than like good for you.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's another good good lesson, that if you take Yain in the sense of the most enjoyable parts of learning, as we know, there is a reality of like there is a thing of like learning what you're attracted to. However, for your development, going to the things that are attractive is not going to be the way to develop. If you, again, in the analogy of food, if you have a kid and you say, okay, eat the stuff that you like and then you'll be healthy, we all recognize that that's not a winning proposition. Same thing in learning, just doing the stuff that gives you enjoyment is not the way to develop. And then the other thing is the ooh and ah factor of like the most controversial stuff, the most mystical stuff, like the most like I'm just going to look for the stuff that's like revolutionary and like cutting edge, like everyone's going to be like, that's not a healthy relationship to, that's not a healthy diet of Torah, Yeah. Okay, good. Can we get, we can go back to these also. We're just trying to proceed through. Can we get don't look at wine when it's becoming red? Yeah.
I like that Chaim briefly said this before, where maybe water is like, actual good Torah, and the wine is the not good stuff. I mean, you're trying to make a sort of synthesis between the two. And so it's like, I don't know. Do you see where I'm going?
Yeah, with the mixing thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. And then looking at the red for that.
And you're like, oh, this is gonna work. I'm gonna make such a good ideology here.
That's interesting. Yeah, I that definitely is a problem, right? Right. I do want to say though that just to riff off of that approach for a second, that okay, so I don't want to go so far as to say there's like bad areas of Torah. Yain is legit Torah, but how you should incorporate it into your learning should not necessarily just be based on the appearance or the taste. That's what I'm saying is like the and certainly not the appeal, because it seems like the way that people are looking at it when it's becoming red has to do with like the beauty of it, and like Rav Pesach said, like there's in his I think he said this in his halacha essay, that there's two types of beauty in Chachma. There's the beauty of like stark simplicity of like abstract ideas of like only saying what you have to say and only positing what you have to posit and like getting down to the core of something. And then there's the beauty of like of art and imagination and creativity, and like that beauty is not a sign of truth. The first beauty is a sign of truth, of like getting down to like the basic understanding of the thing, but like don't be seduced by like that flashy beauty. Yeah, fine.
Yeah, I was trying to say that the wine, when it's becoming red, is again, that's like when it's becoming ready, and like don't try to interact with it while it's still becoming ready for you. Like wait till it's red, like wait till it like it's ready for you to be interacting with.
Right, that's like Isaac's trying to approach it of checking on the wine to make sure it's ready. So, yeah, right, yeah. Right, we still haven't seen anyone to say that, right? But yeah. That's the only reason I've got factual hesitance there for Kitin bakos eno yishalch meishrim. Okay, so this is another interesting thing, right? That with so can we say a mashal of the kos versus the yayin in this Derech Nistar that we're taking?
Can you take us in a positive way?
Yes, I that's actually where I'm inclined to take it. Yeah.
And the notice is the receptacle for the wine.
Right.
So like I don't know the receptacle for the more esoteric ideas, I guess.
Right.
The things which support it, maybe, and the things which like allow it to be there, like allow you to interact with it. I would say like you can't interact with wine; it's like on a table.
Right.
You have on a toast.
Correct.
Something to like.
Okay, that's good.
Something to like to then interact with it. Like it's also like it's actually interesting that a cup is like if you think about it, it's kind of like a medium between like you and liquid.
Right.
So like if you have the cups and you have like a proper cup, then you can like interact with it the right way.
Right. Okay, that's good, Marshall. I'm looking for support here from Oren.
Different idea.
Yeah.
That if we're gonna say that it's sort of about the diet of Torah that you have, then the cup would be like your weekly schedule. So it's like when you look at what it is, your chavrutahs, the things that you want, whatever. You can either fill it with all sorts of you can either fill it with good things or not good things,
right?
Or proper things.
Okay, that's good. So that is the thing that allows you to interact with the wine, right? That fits in well with that. Yeah. So what I'm thinking of here is the Ramban in his the end of his Hakdama to Torah, where he warns about Kabbalah, right? He says, now behold, I bring in, this is the last paragraph of the Hakdama to Bereshis. Now behold, I bring into a faithful covenant and give proper advice to all who look into this book. Do not theorize or speculate about any of the allusions which I write regarding the secrets of the Torah. I firmly make known to him, the reader, that my words will not be understood or known at all through any theorizing or analysis, except from the mouth of a wise Makubal, meaning someone who received this Kabbalah ish mipi ish, to the ear of an understanding Makubal. Any theorizing concerning the secrets of Torah is foolishness. Any contemplation of them will only lead to great harm and will preclude any benefit. Let him not trust in vanity, deceiving himself, for his theorizing will bring him nothing but evil. He will speak slander against Hashem, for which he cannot atone. As it is stated, the man who strays from the path of reason will rest in the congregation of the dead. Let them not break through to Hashem to gaze. For Hashem, our God, is a devouring fire, a God of jealousies. Only those who find favor with him will be shown wonders from his Torah. Rather, let the reader look into our commentaries for the chidushim in the pshatim and the midrashim. Let him take moral instruction from the mouth of our holy rabbis. Into that which is beyond you, do not seek. Into that which is more powerful than you, do not inquire. About that which is too wondrous for you, do not desire to know. About that which is hidden from you, do not ask. Analyze that which is permitted to you, and do not involve yourself in hidden things. Yeah. So this particular thing is what comes to mind here. Ramban has in his commentary the Pshatim and Midrashim, and then he's got the secrets of Torah, right? The secrets of Torah are the wine, and the Pshatim and Midrashim are the cup. And if you keep your eye on the cup, then you'll walk in upright ways. Where are we here? If you keep your eye on the cup, then you'll walk in upright ways. But if you get involved in the wine, when you're not ready for the wine, then you'll get all zigzaggy in your mind. Yeah. Okay. I think that also is reflected in the Ramban, is that you get these ideas into your mind and they start to permeate your way of thinking to the point where you can't not see the world through that. Like again, if if you, let's say you get into this idea of, some unhealthy idea of spheros and like, and panentheism and like God being in everything, it's very hard to get your mind out of that way of thinking about stuff, and certainly with these epistemological areas, I'm not saying that there's no true ideas with that. I'm just saying like, there's a lot of false ideas about that. Your eyes will see strange things. That's the easiest one to say. You're going to see things that are not there, and you're going to say things that are the opposite of the truth or that are contradictory. I think that's another thing. You're going to be in a precarious, dangerous situation. And you will, that's another thing also, is you will be struck by blows and not sense them because you're not viewing these things as injuries, right? And then you're just going to seek more of more involvement in that stuff. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, I've convinced myself that this is a warning against going prematurely into the deepest areas of Torah, which again, that's why I sense that there's an overlap of like, these are areas that are objectively deep and valuable, but are also intoxicating and pleasurable. And you have to go. You have to be able to relate to this in a measured drinking. And like the Rambam, uses the mashal of the meat and the wine. You don't feed it to a baby, right? It's going to kill it. But if you feed it to an adult, then they'll be able to handle it. Yeah. Yeah. Fine.
Two things. One is a comment on 32, and then one was a question.
Yeah.
So on 32, I was thinking because we also said that you don't notice the bite.
Yeah, that's true. You don't even know that you got bit.
So and I was thinking like you could even. I know it's not shot.
Yeah.
But like you could even say like I'm doing a good thing though.
Right.
Like I'm learning Torah. Like, how
right.
Could that possibly be bad?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it'll come in. It'll get.
Yeah.
And maybe that's like maybe it's also like the duplicities also of like it's not really a bad thing. It can't be a bad thing.
Right.
It's like I'm supposed to be confused about this.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You talk yourself into it. Yeah. I just want to mention also in terms of like a person could hear what we're saying and say, okay, well, these aren't new ideas, right? But I want to stress the point that the purpose of the method of Mishlei is to make these ideas impact you emotionally in a different way. And I do think that there is a difference. You could read the Rambam and the Ramban's warnings about going to these esoteric ideas and not have the emotional impact of this is like experimenting with a very addictive drug that causes you to see hallucinations and to get into dangerous position. Like that emotional impact of the mashal is really where the method of Mishlei comes in to supplement the ideas that we already know, So I think that that's what is useful about this way of thinking. Yeah.
And then the question I had was 35. I'm not understanding when will I wake up? Like what's the
so I think this is like what you said this, David, like when I wake up, I will, I think, did you say that? Not when will I wake up, but when I wake up, then I'm going to go seek more.
So what's the waking up though?
Waking up is either waking up from, well, I think Plain Shah is it's waking up the next morning and you are hungover, or when you get out of your stupor of drunkenness. It could be like figurative waking up. When you get out of the stupor of drunkenness and it starts to wear off, then you seek more.
You're saying that would be true with the Derech Nistar as well?
Yeah. You're constantly seeking more of this stuff to, yeah.
And then because these ideas aren't really accessible to you, then it'll wear off also. Meaning like a true idea is not something that like.
Well, here, okay, that's a good point. The thing so truth doesn't wear off, but imagination does, right? So the impact of the imagination and that rush of like, I've uncovered some secret or like, that kind of thing can wear off because it's not true discovery. Yeah.
I think there's also if you aren't actually like dealing with the truth, and then you start to like build things up, and as you see things starting to go wrong,
right?
Like add on more.
Yeah.
So I think that's like one thing. Then you would also look to then get more of this, so that you're not actually going to see how things are going to crumble.
Yeah.
And I also think that there is within these ideas, there's like in some ways it can be hard to tell whether or not these are like actually like good, real, true ideas.
Yeah.
Or these are your fake out ideas. And then I think within that also, then you're going to have to like get woken up to be seeing what is for like real ideas and what is just these.
Right. That's good. I want to give an example of this and then we'll stop. I mentioned in Monday Night Mishlei, I started watching the Bernie Madoff documentary. I do not think it's a good documentary. I mean, I stopped after 20 minutes, but I watched another good documentary last night that I ended up watching the whole thing. It's called Made You Look. And it's about the greatest art scandal in the United States. $80 million of forged art. I think it was 80 million or 87 million. So the documentary focuses on the woman who either is the greatest victim of the scandal or the greatest perpetrator of the crime. It's like a true crime type investigation. But the point that the underlying theme of this entire thing is like so many experts were fooled by this. And part of the thing is if you've invested millions of dollars into this thing, you are going to be prone to like, if you see a red flag, you're going to want to like ignore it or justify it or reinterpret it. And they're saying that part of what allowed the scandal to go on for so long is everyone ignored the warning signs because no one wanted to like acknowledge the fact that there was an incongruity here, you know? And I feel like that can happen with these seductive areas of learning where you have these theories and then, you know, like there's so many times, I can't tell you how many times I've like, you know, someone advances an idea along these lines and it's like, but it goes against all the pesukim, it goes against all the rishonim, you know, and they just you know, just push it away and like find some way to like explain it or downplay it, you know? So yeah, difficult problem. Okay, all right, let's stop here for today. And I feel like unless I find something, hold on a second, let me stop it.